Hello everyone, this is Ishtiaq with you once again. Welcome to the fourth episode of my photography blog. Now here today you see my little son with me. His name is Adi. He will turn 4 months tomorrow. Uh, so since this little one came into our lives, we've been staying home. We couldn't really get away from the home, and I am a work from home dad, so I look after him with help from others, and can't really visit places. So that's why when I started this photography blog, I figured let's start with travel photos, since I can't travel, and someday I plan on going places and visiting the world with this little, this cute little thing here. And that's why we were looking at travel photos, and this is the fourth segment, and for now this is where we will stop with travel photos. In this episode, what we will be looking at is perspective correction. The reason why perspective correction is important is that when you are a traveler, when you are visiting, when you're a tourist, and you visit something good, say it can be a big monument, it can be a wonderful building, what you will find is that you're standing right in front, you have a camera in your hands, and you're just okay. So we had an interruption there just to make sure that there are no bugs bothering this little guy. Okay, so as we were saying, when you are traveling and when you're in front of a wonderful place, a lot of times you have your camera and you're just looking at it, and as a result, yeah, your head is like that. As a result, you're not getting the best perspective. So there are ways that you can come back and fix those in post-processing. So that's what we are going to look at, and that's going to end our travel photos. And this is also the last photo probably where we work with JPEGs. So in future episodes, we're going to look at how we can make that transition from JPEG to RAW format. All right. I hope you enjoy this episode and send lots of hugs for this, little baby who you'll see grow up in front of your eyes. Here we are in Lightroom once again. This time, just like before, we are going to process a travel photo. As I mentioned in the intro, this looks like a picture that you would take. It's representative of a typical travel photo where you are in front of a location and you have to take the photo basically from where you are. You don't have the option to be say 20 feet higher than where you are, or maybe 30 feet to the left of where you are. And any of those would have made this a much better photo, but we can't. Our composition is limited to the location where we are at, or where we have access to. So let's process this photo and see what we can do about it. Now, say just for the sake of it, let's go through some basic processing. For this one, I would actually like to just boost the magenta and the temperature just a little bit. The exposure, we can leave it be. Just like the usual workflow, we can play with the highlights and the shadows. We press down the Alt or Option key and move the whites slider, and we also move the blacks slider until we see a few pixels. And once we do that, we kind of arrive at where we want to be. So this workflow we have seen in the previous episodes. Let's boost the clarity just a touch, the vibrance also just a bit. We can also just choose a strong contrast. I'm going through these very quickly because the point of this episode is not to show you this workflow. It's been covered in the other episodes, and I'll link those in the notes, so you can go to that very quickly. So let's sharpen this selectively. Let's increase the noise reduction just a little bit, and just as we looked at the sharpening, I'm pressing down Alt and clicking this slider, and you see some of the noise in the sky and in the background. So that's something we will have to fix for this picture. So let's very quickly address some of that. So let me click on 1 and 2. Here's a third one and a fourth one. There's a few more we can see, and to see more, just as before, we check this visualize spots, and then we move the slider to the right to make it more sensitive. And as we do that, we see some of these other specs that we did not notice before. So let's just all I'm doing is just bringing my mouse over here and tapping, and that's all that's needed, because Lightroom will analyze the area and the rest of the photo and find a very suitable location from where it can replace the noise. So that's what we have done. Let's uncheck this and let's click done here. So we have a clean photo, and we know that this is the workflow that we've been using. It's the go-to thing that takes a couple of minutes only. But the thing is, how do we fix something more, a bigger problem? As I mentioned something else in the intro, this is probably the last time we will be working with JPEG pictures. The reason why I started with JPEG is that most photographers, almost everyone, still shoot JPEG. That's the format they have, and I didn't mean to have everyone move to raw format and then learn processing. There's a lot that you can do with JPEG files as well, and I wanted to make sure that, okay, someone wishing me Eid Mubarak. I'm sure he's gonna see this, and I'll mention this to him. So there's a lot that you can do with JPEG versions, and I wanted you to learn that first because it's very important, and it also will give you the confidence you need to proceed. Now, once you are in RAW, this is something that you will see more and more useful. Whenever you click on Enable Profile Corrections and you click on Remove Chromatic Aberration, it will fix a lot of things in the software, because the Lightroom software knows about the behavior of various lenses, and that lens profile will be applied here. That's what will be leveraged. There are some other things. When you come here, you see this off, level, vertical, full, and auto. These are very useful for perspective corrections, and to get started you can just click on auto if you want. It often straightens out, but in this case we don't really like what it's doing. If we want to make it make the photo, if we want to make this level, let's click on that. Again, it's leveling the horizon, but this kind of shows up a little slanted, so let's turn that off and let's see what we can do. What we are going to be doing is coming here to manual, and when you come to this section, you have the option of playing around with your picture, and I encourage you to play with these sliders. And as you do this, you will notice that there's a lot of distortion correction that goes on here. Let's put it here. And a lot of times when you're using a wide angle lens, for example in this case we are using 16 millimeters, there's a lot of distortion in the picture, and when you click on Enable Profile Corrections, Lightroom will fix that. But in this case, since we don't have that information, we're going in and doing it manually. We can do the same for, let's say, there you go, making it a little more vertical than it was. You can also go the other way, so you see the changes that can be done. So I'm just going to keep it in a moderate location. Horizontally, once again, you can move around and come to something that you like. So in this one I'm not going to touch. I'll just keep it to the basics because I just wanted you to see how you can do that. So once you do that, there's this option of constraint crop, and when you click on this, Lightroom will recrop your photo so that these blank empty spaces are not there. So there you go. As soon as you click it, and there we have unchecked it and checked it again. Sorry, there's a lag, but as soon as you select constraint crop, and here as well, it shows the same thing in two places. Your picture is automatically cropped. Whatever empty areas you have as a result of the distortion correction goes away. The reason that happens is when you are taking a picture, you are filling the frame as you see it. But as you correct this, the picture is kind of pushed back or moved around, and that creates those open areas. And instead of going in and fixing the crop, recropping it manually, you can always do this automatically. So let's look at the before and after. I'm going to press backslash to check that. So there's the before of the picture, and here's the after. So very quickly you see that we have corrected the perspective somewhat, and of course I should warn you that you should not be going overboard with this. Use this in moderation, use this only if you have to. And as I said, if you are using if you're capturing in RAW format, you're probably going to have, not probably, you're definitely going to have a lot more help. So this is the episode for now. It's a quick episode. This is an important thing to learn. I just wanted you to see the tool in action, because instead of this lighthouse, you could have been standing in front of the entrance of a wonderful building, and the door or the stairways or just the building itself could have been completely distorted. This way you have an option in your hands to go back and fix it. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and I hope you will find it useful. This will conclude the first 4 episodes where we covered the basics of processing photos, and we've taken the approach of fixing travel photos. And in the episodes that are going to come next, we will look at how we can maintain a catalog in Lightroom. We will also see how we can move away from capturing pictures in JPEG to capturing pictures in RAW, and the benefits of that. So have a very nice day or night, and as you have noticed in that bubble over there, tomorrow is Eid for us, so I wish all of you a very happy Eid Mubarak. Thank you.